I have been a nurse practitioner for over 8 years and I make six figures a year, but I wasn't happy with that. In fact, I was on the brink of feeling burned out, bitter, and broken in my career. And if you're a nurse practitioner or a medical provider and you feel this way too, then you are in the right place. So, in today's video, I'm going to tell you what I learned, or more importantly, what you shouldn't do and how you can make money meaningfully while practicing in healthcare. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Nicole. I am a rheumatology nurse practitioner, and I help other nurse practitioners and medical providers make medicine meaningful, find happiness in healthcare, and meaningfully connect with their patient in 60 seconds or less. So, first of all, as a disclaimer, I'm going to be very real and vulnerable in this video today. We're all human, and as a result, we're all imperfect in some aspect, in some way. And today I'm going to share some mistakes that I made. And so I guess this is just my little plea to you to be a little bit nice in the comments below. All right, so let's take it to the beginning. I did not know what I wanted to do with my life in a career for a very long time. When I was a kid, back in kindergarten, according to my mom, I wanted to be a butterfly when I grew up. When I was in middle school, I wanted to write romance novels and be a New York Times bestselling author because at the time I didn't have a boyfriend. I was a very late bloomer and I read romance novels all the time and I thought they were the best thing ever. And then in high school, I still didn't know what I wanted to do. My English teacher in my senior year asked all of us for our senior project, what do you want to do when you grow up? Or what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember I said, I want to be a dentist because it was literally the first thing that popped in my brain because I had seen the dentist earlier that week for a checkup. And so I really didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time in my life. After high school, I went to my local community college working part-time to make money because again, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had to take time to figure it out. And I figured might as well make money while I'm trying to figure this, life stuff out. And in undergrad, I decided to major in communication because I figured whatever I decided to do in the future, I needed communication skills. You need to be able to communicate with other people. In my 20s, I bounced around through different jobs. I was an administrative assistant, I was a personal assistant, I was a library technician, and I never made good money. In fact, I made probably like $30,000 to $40,000 a year. Yes, I still lived with my parents. There was no way I could afford a house, even an apartment living in California. It was just astronomical. There was no way I was going to make that money. And so I was depressed. I had situational depression. I didn't know where my life was headed. I felt like my life was going nowhere. And, I was in my mid 20s. I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. I wanted, the American dream. I wanted a white picket fence with 2.5 kids. And I needed good money for that. That dream required good money, which required a good career. And so in my mid 20s, while struggling with depression, I realized I need to get my butt in shape and I need to figure out what I want to do. And so I talked to a lot of friends. I researched a lot. I talked to a lot of different opinions. And it just so happened at the time that one of my good girlfriends was in nursing school. And she said, why don't you give that a try? And I never thought about going to nursing. My mom might have mentioned it in the past when I was a kid, but I never really took it seriously because science was never my thing back when I was growing up. So in my 20s, I thought, I got nothing to lose. Might as well go for it. So I took some nursing prerequisite classes at my community college. Yes, the one that I went to before undergrad. So I went back to my community college with my tail between my legs, starting all over again. And after, taking a few classes, microbiome, anatomy, physiology, I volunteered at a hospital. I shadowed a lot of different, nurses and medical providers. And finally, I decided I'm going to be a nurse practitioner. I did a lot of research and I realized nurse practitioners are going to be in very high demand in the future because there's a forecasting of a physician shortage in the US. In fact, The AACM, the Association of American Medical Colleges, forecasts that by the year 2034, so less than 10 years, we're in 2025 right now, in less than 10 years, there's going to be a shortage of 124,000 physicians in the US. All right. So fast forward like 4+ years later of nursing school, of NP school, of 4 years of studying, reading books every night, studying so much, accumulating, a six-figure student loan, losing sleep from 12-hour clinicals, doing midnight shifts. I was finally a nurse practitioner. I was finally making the big bucks. I was making six figures from the start in my career as a new grad nurse practitioner. I was part of the 18% of Americans that make six figures or more per year. I felt really good about myself at graduation. I thought, this is it. I made it. I have done it. I have job security. I am set up for life. Life will be an easy, coasting the rest of my life till my dying days. I don't have to worry about a thing anymore. And, I always felt pretty financially intelligent. I mean, I was able to pay off my six-figure student loan within 3 years of living like a resident, according to the white coat investor. I lived below my means. I didn't spend money extravagantly. I didn't inflate my lifestyle. And I contribute to my retirement, my investments regularly. I mean, I've got a good nest egg building, to be honest. Here's the deal. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. Practicing in healthcare is hard. They don't tell you this in school or when you're researching to become a nurse practitioner. It is long, long hours. It's seeing patients back to back to back without breaks. It's this mental whiplash of going from one patient who's upset that you will prescribe them pain medication for their chronic condition. You have to have an in-depth heart-to-heart conversation with them, to the next patient who speaks a different language, and you have to find your medical assistant to set up the interpreter phone or interpreter video tablet, to the next patient who's upset because you're running 10, 15 minutes late, to the next patient who asks last minute, can I have a joint injection before you walk out the door because they didn't tell you in the beginning? So I have to find your medical assistant to get the table tray set up with the injection, the equipment, and then to the next patient, and it goes on and on and on. It's this constant mental, emotional whiplash going from circumstance to circumstance with different patient cases. On top of seeing patients, there's charting, there's billing, there's responding to patient messages and interpreting their lab results, their imaging results, that you don't get time blocked out for this. This is like when you have time between your patients, which for what I just described, you really don't have time between your patients. And so it's also, as a nurse practitioner, you're covering your supervising physician's messages and phone calls and those kind of things. And so it all adds up to this mental burden every day. And it feels like when you get to the clinic first thing in the morning, your first patient, you're going 95 miles per hour until the day is over and you walk out to the parking lot, back into your car, and head home. And sadly, I started feeling defeated. I started feeling so defeated, like maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I wasn't cut out for this. I had patients walk out on me saying that they don't want to see a nurse practitioner. They'd rather see the doctor and wait a couple more weeks or a couple more months to get his appointment with them. And I thought to myself, did I make a mistake? And if I did, am I trapped in this terrible mistake for the rest of my life? Am I doomed? I spent so much time at my work. I ate breakfast there. I ate my lunch there. I even ate my dinner there sometimes, staying till like 8 or 9 o'clock at night doing my notes and my charting. And I cried every night for the first 3 years going to bed because I dreaded hearing my alarm clock go off in the morning, signaling me that it's time to do this all over again. And so I know what it's feel like to feel like you're in this invisible prison. I get the feeling of feeling like you're in this seemingly never-ending cycle of a nightmare. And the truth is, I felt really lost for several years as a nurse practitioner. I really did. And in school, I was working towards something, right? I felt challenged. I enjoyed feeling challenged because I knew at the end I would have my NCLEX and I had my board exam. Like I knew how many more years or how many more months till that end goal. But now I had turned into this person that felt like she was just going through the motions day in, day out, waiting for my 2-week paycheck. And I thought to myself, is that all there is? Like, is this the rest of my life? And so I'm here to tell you, what changed? What did I learn? Because I love my job as a nurse practitioner right now, and I'm not burned out. And so, how am I happier practicing in healthcare? And more importantly, how can you be happier practicing in healthcare? And in order to answer that question, I need to first show you something on the board. So, if you're listening to the podcast, I want you to look up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or you can also watch the YouTube video version of this because this will really, really help. So, Mas- ad, sorry, Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist who realized that humans have a number of basic needs that they must have meet before people move up the hierarchy to pursue more social, emotional, and their different basic needs. And so here I wrote it all out for you that this is the 5 basic needs that psychologist Abraham Maslow discovered that people need to meet in order to feel happy, fulfilled as human beings. And this is universal. I don't know why this is a little blurry on the screen. Let me bring it closer. Let's see if this helps. That's a little bit better. All right. So this is a pyramid, and we start at the very bottom because we have to build the foundation before we reach the very top of a pyramid. So the very bottom of the pyramid is your physiologic needs. These are physiological needs like food, water, you need warmth, you need rest and sleep, you need shelter, you need clothing. This is basic physiological needs. If you don't have these, you will die. The human body cannot sustain itself. You will physically die. So that is the physiological needs. Once we have met those, then we move up to we need safety needs met. Safety needs are things like security, employment, resources, you need property, you need your health. This is things to feel safe and secure. Once you have these 2 are your basic needs, then we move up to the more psychological needs. The next one up is your love and belonging needs. So belongingness, like friendship, love, intimate relationships, a sense of connection. So this is like making friends if you move to a new area. This is like dating because you want to find your life partner. You want to build a relationship. You want to feel loved. You don't want to be alone in the world. And so that's the next needs. After that, after you've met those love and belonging needs, then we have esteem, your self esteem. People want to feel good about themselves. People want to feel really good about themselves. This is things like status, recognition, a sense of accomplishment, respect, and self esteem from what other people think about you. And so that's the next set of needs. Finally, when we've met those, all 4 of those, the last one at the pinnacle of the pyramid is self-actualization needs. And this is very, very difficult to meet because this is the hardest one, in my opinion. Self-actualization is when you desire to be the most you can be, to maximize your potential, to achieve your full potential. This is your self-fulfillment needs. Now, in talking about that, going back to my story, I really had to face the music and reflect on my own life. I started out studying to be a nurse practitioner because I wanted good money. I wanted good money to build the life I wanted. I wanted to be able to buy a house. I wanted to have money to get married, to have kids, to raise kids, to, have a fulfilling life. And so, you know, all that year, and if I was to be totally honest, and I'm going to be really vulnerable with you here. I would not be a nurse practitioner if I wasn't paid well. I'll just be honest with you. I'd like to be quite honest. A lot of years of my life went into my schooling, my training to incur a 6-figure student loan debt. The salary you earn afterwards better be well worth it. It just makes sense. And so let's have a real talk here. People who become nurse practitioners and doctors We do it initially for the money and status. I'm just to be completely honest. If you genuinely don't care about money or status, you would just be a volunteer at a hospital. Let's just be honest, okay? But there's a little bit of a pride infused in me, and I'm sure when you tell people, "I'm a nurse practitioner," like, people's eyes light up. Like, I know that they know I'm very smart, I'm very intelligent, I keep people healthy, I make an impact on the world. That makes me feel good. That fulfills my self-esteem needs, let's be honest. And so I'm not sitting here complaining about all the work I had to do to become a nurse practitioner. And, if you look hard, there will always be someone who is worse off than you. And so, some people would say that, Nicole, you need to stop complaining. This is first world problems. I am here to tell you that no one should minimize your pain. No one should minimize your pain. Your pain is individual to you. And everyone's pain is different because everyone's on a different part of this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And so you can be on whatever level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you can have very, very real physical or psychological pain. Absolutely. And if we're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I had accomplished the 4 lower levels. I really, really did. With my career, I felt safe and secure with my employment. There's a high demand for nurse practitioners. I met my husband while I was in nursing school. I got married. I have a beautiful son. Like, I have a family. I have a beautiful family. And then I also feel pretty darn good about myself. Like, I feel very accomplished as a nurse practitioner. And so there's a saying that what got you here won't get you there. And that's by Marshall Goldsmith. And it means that the habits, the behaviors, the strategies that brought you success in the past may not be effective any longer or even hinder your progress if you try to use them at a higher level or in a new situation. So it essentially, this saying, what got you here won't get you there. That saying is suggesting to you that you need to adapt and develop new skills to reach your further goals. Money is what brought me to my career as a nurse practitioner, but money wasn't going to keep me happy and fulfilled as a nurse practitioner. I'm going to kind of help you look at this analytically. So we all get paid twice a week. For the majority of us, we get paid twice a week. People who live for the biweekly paycheck. That is 1 day out of every 2 weeks. That is 26 days out of 356 days a year. Only 26 days out of the year. That is 7.3% of your life. That is 7.3% of your life that you get that dopamine high from getting that paycheck direct deposit into your account, or you get that check mailed to you. Do you really want to be happy for less than 10% of your life when you get that dopamine hit of that paycheck, or even going on the big vacations only a few times a year? That is not enough to sustain you to be happy. What about the rest of the majority, the rest 90+% of your life? Money can only move you so far. If your motivation is solely money, you'll stop at some point. You will stop feeling motivated at some point. You'll become lazy, you'll become complacent, you will feel stuck, and you'll feel trapped in a mental prison, like you're going through the motions day in, day out until you get that paycheck. If you want to do something big in life, you have to tap into something more powerful than money. You must be driven by something bigger. And so, what if instead you saw your career as your craft? What if you chose to hone in on your craft? What if you made it your purpose to understand another human being so profoundly that you can move them to make healthier decisions for their lives, to change the trajectory of their life? And as nurse practitioners, we get the opportunity to open people's minds to new ideas and take them beyond what they understood of the world before they came to see you. I had a patient recently diagnosed with a life-threatening rheumatic disease that could have caused permanent blindness. And when he came to my exam room for the first time, he was incredibly skeptical about medication and how it can save his life. It took at least maybe 2.5, like almost 3 follow-up visits to really persuade him and show him and demonstrate to him that he can have a happier future with optimal well-being and meeting his goals and feeling happy, great quality of life if he was on this immunosuppressant medication that can put his autoimmune disease in remission and prevent further complications, relapses, flares, and prevent blindness. And now I recently saw him and he's a completely different person. I mean, he was excited to tell me about his progress, how well he's doing. He's even changed his eating habits. He's like a whole new version of himself. And that sense of accomplishment that I could make change in someone's life for the better, that it was the greatest dopamine high I could have asked for all week. It was the greatest dopamine high. And I came home from work with smiles, full of energy. I hugged my son, my husband. I told them how I love my job. I went to bed and put my head on the pillow with this sense of purpose and this sense of peace in my heart and in my mind. That kind of happiness is something that money can't buy. Money can't buy mastery of your craft. What if you can make your patients excited to see their nurse practitioner? What if every week your patients said to you, I'd rather see you than the doctor? Or you're the best interaction I've ever had compared to any other doctor I've ever talked to. Now all of a sudden, you don't feel like you're going through just the motions every morning and every day in, day out. Now you wake up excited to compete with your past self from yesterday, from last week. You see each day as a new challenge. And feeling that sense of purpose of each day is worth something, that's what makes human beings happy. That's how you find happiness in healthcare. That's how you find your self actualization need met, or you maximize your potential, you hone in on your craft. And to be honest, this isn't sexy. Making money, buying fancy cars, purses, clothes, shoes, going on fantastic vacations, buying everything you never had for your kids. That's sexy. But sexiness can be deceptive. And here's the truth: seasons season you. Seasons season you. My season of completing each step in Maslow's hierarchy of needs seasoned me for the next season. For the next season. My identity changed through each season. This means my needs have to change. My needs, my habits, my behaviors have to change with each season. My needs from the prior season won't fulfill me because now I'm a different season. And so for the people who say that money cannot buy happiness, this is what I have to say to you. The most expensive thing you will ever pay for is your ignorance. The most expensive thing you will ever pay for is your ignorance. Not knowing this hierarchy of needs, that your identity shifts and evolves, and that each new season has new needs from you. That is why you feel stuck. That is why you feel lost, or you have a sense of, purposelessness. Like you feel lost, you feel unhappy. That's why you feel like you're just going through the motions every day. I had a physician talk to me recently at work. She said she worked so hard for a patient who's fatally suffering from a rheumatic disease. This physician stayed late hours, worked late hours, worked from their cell phone on the weekends. She missed events with her young children. She had discussions and collaborations with her patient's other specialists on what safe treatment is the best option for her. And when this physician presented the treatment plan to the patient wasn't happy and said, I feel like a guinea pig. And this physician came to me so frustrated, so angry. She said, I understand patients have a right to complain, but there must be a limit where they are disrespectful and insulting us. There has to be a limit to that. And I remember how frustrated my physician colleague felt. No one wants to feel like the work they do is unappreciated, that what they do has no meaning. Everyone wants to feel valued in what they do and what they bring to this world. And the truth is, if you're a nurse practitioner or a medical provider, this is what I learned from being a nurse practitioner and making six figures, is that money alone won't make you happy. It is no longer the amount of information that you have in your brain that makes you valuable. It is your ability to synthesize the information to your patient that makes you valuable. A generation ago, doctors were appreciated for just being doctors. They were considered the smartest people in the world. They were trusted. People listened to them like automatically. But now, human behavior has changed. Where's the first place that patients go to when they want information on their health? It's not their doctor, it's the internet. It is the internet. I've lost count how many patients come to me, and the first words out of their mouth is, I read this on the internet. Da 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 da. You are competing with a patient who has the opportunity to go on Facebook at 3 in the morning to read a random post from someone who took one medication one time, had horrible side effects, and telling everyone they should never take this medication now. The way we communicate in medicine and healthcare has to change because human behavior is changing. We spend more than, as nurse practitioners, we spent more than 4 years in school, learning about healthcare, learning about medications, pathophysiology. So we spend so much time living and breathing this material that we believe it. We truly believe it, but our patients haven't. And so it is our job to compact all those years of expertise in the 10, 20, 15, whatever, 15-minute appointment visit we have with them to communicate all of our expertise in a way that is digestible for them, that they will understand and believe in it. That's how you get patients valuing you. That's how you feel fulfilled and hit that self-actualization pinnacle. Which, by the way, if this is something that you're like, yes, I get it, and I want to be able to be the best nurse practitioner I can be and master my craft, then I invite you to click the link below and join the next round of the Connect with Your Patient in 60 Seconds or Less challenge. Go ahead and click on the link below. But it's wild, when I look back, I started my nurse practitioner journey back in, gosh, over 10 years ago. And I decided to completely change the course of my life over 10 years ago. And I actually have here the good luck card from my last job before I went to nurse practitioner school. And it's signed by all of my old colleagues. I was a library assistant. I worked as a library assistant making just, small amounts of dollars, and all these names, all these people saying, wishing you the success in school and your no career, good luck in the future, congratulations, we'll miss you, wishing you the best in your new profession. And I can see a younger version of me who was making $30,000 a year and hungered for making more money. And now 10 plus years later, my hunger has changed. My hunger has changed. Now I hunger to impact people. I hunger to change the world, to make the world a little bit of a better place before I leave it. And so that's what makes life fulfilling. And that's when you hit the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, when you discover and reach your full potential. And that's how you find happiness in healthcare. And so I hope this episode was helpful. And if you like this video, then you should definitely check out another video I'll have posted here on the side. And until then, I'll see you in the next episode.